Please. Please. Thank you. Alrighty. In the top left corner, playing or Zoom, it is Santa. And his opponent on the other side of the map, his arch enemy, his nemesis, it is Magicall. Playing Ajari. So Ajari versus Orzum. I always like watching Karath versus Karath matchups. Because the units are pretty cool in my opinion. I like the style of unit. And I like the subsequent gameplay that emerges. We see Magicall's teapot finding some hidey places. Hidey places. So we see Santa's Legion Hall position. I believe that he is expecting to be Fire Singer rushed. Usually players will try and put the Fire Singers on the back of the mineral line, which makes a ton of sense. But when the Legion Hall is back there, you can just have that much little bit of a quicker emergence of the Zentari in order to stop that Fire Singer rush. Both these players, once again, attacking each other's towers so that they start doing damage to the natural Acropolis. I saw that you did some commentating with ZK, and I tried to do some communicating on my side, but was never satisfied with the result. Would you like to try some duo casting? In a couple games, Yeti, in a couple games. Like one or two. So we don't see a Fire Singer rush from either player, which is, well, good for them. And potentially us, I guess. Or probably us. Because Fire Singer rushes sometimes end in death, and short games are potentially short and sweet, but also they're short games, you know. We want to see some action with these units. So now, for those players or people that don't know as much about the game, these are the Zentari as Orzum. They are the first and cheapest unit for this character in terms of the between the combination of alloy and ether. They only cost alloy. We do see a little bit of a push here for Magicall, and his units are the Sipari, similar to the Zentari in the fact that they get additional benefits with being inside hollowed ground, which I guess goes for every other unit in the game. But these units get special benefits, like the Sipari get a shield increase when they are inside hollowed ground, as you'll see here, and the Zentari have a ranged attack with their swords when they're inside hollowed ground. Now we did see Santa run across the map with his Zentari, which is pretty bold, I must say. He's trying to snipe this natural like Magicall did to him, and he may well succeed. He was going for the moats there, so that's not going to work. The moats do trap the Zentari, though, and that is pretty big. Losing these moats is rough, but I think killing the Zentari might be worth. I don't know. It's a tough call. There's a couple Dervish in here as well, which are Santa's tokened unit. But all the moats are already dead, so there's not much for the Dervish to do other than be annoying, which they are very good at. We actually did see the PYRE camp unit come all the way out to the natural of Magicall. I've never seen one come out that far, and Santa's actually able to steal the PYRE. Little ending animation there that you could catch with those retreating Zentari, and that is really nice because Magicall did the work for him. He just stole the PYRE. Now these Dervish are getting trapped, which is pretty rough. He's going to lose one, if not both. He does lose both. Good movement by Magicall to get a couple more free units. So Magicall is definitely ahead at this point. He kept his natural, which Santa was unfortunately did not. And he also has a major unit advantage. So he's going to run across the map and leverage this advantage. We do see this in the supply count. The fact that Magicall is over 1,000 and Santa's only around 200. Santa needs to be making some units. We do see a reliquary and a... oh, shoot, I don't remember the name. This is a tech building for the Soul Foundry. So basically he can get absolvers. And absolvers would be really nice here. And he can also siege them. There's only a couple of dervish here and a Zentari to defend against this massive army of Sipari. He really needs his absolvers or hollowers to pop out, either or. He needs something. Santa needs something in order to be able to stop this. The Zentari are running into the main base. They're just going to try and have their way and end this game here and now. A couple more Dervish pop out. Dervish aren't the worst for this situation. They've got a nice AoE attack. The moats start evacuating. The Dervish are doing what they can to stall. Santa, as most likely, his units on the way. What those units are is, well, is anybody's guess. Dervish are still trying to stall. Ether Extractor is taken out. He's going for the Bastion in order to stop getting attacked by that powerful attack, and he actually ends up losing a lot of the Zentari. These Dervish were able to just cut them down from the back slowly but surely, and between that and the Bastion, they do all go down. Now, that was not a good trade for Magicall at all. He had a significant amount of Zentari, and he did not get much damage done with them. Simply taking down the Ether Extractor and the Bastion is not very worth at all. Now, he does still no longer has a PYRE advantage as well, which he did before, and now he's vulnerable to a counterattack from Santa Claus. At home, he does have a nice wall here, so these Dervish can't run in. Oh, well, as I say that, the Zephyrs weren't quite properly positioned, so the Dervish are able to walk in. A couple Zephyrs are going to go down here, and the Dervish are in the base, which is pretty scary. This two building wall is really nice over here, but the problem with the walls like this is your tech is exposed. So this Angelarium and the Reliquary and the Soul Foundry are all pretty important tech units or tech buildings, and they are very exposed right now. So any attack from Santa, he could just snipe one of these buildings and put back the Magicall's tech. So both players trading fairly well. We still see Magicall with the supply advantage, but I think Santa has definitely recovered from where he was. He has a third base on the way. What's up, Colin? He has a third base on the way, whereas Magicall does not. Magicall is going to be looking to go out and get a more PYRE advantage. He's got 50 right now to play with, or 150. 50 more to play with than Santa, and Santa doesn't really have the units to be out on the map now, not as a significant presence anyway. He does have a Dervish, which he just used to cancel. Might have been a base, I didn't quite catch it. Could have been a moat. At home, we see Hollowers. Santa loves his Hollowers, and I love them too, so therefore I love Santa. That's my logic. This army is pushing in. Hopefully he doesn't notice the third. That would be bad for Santa, but he does just look, and he did have a teapot here, so he does notice it. So Santa does need to defend this. Actually, he just cancels it. This is unfortunate for Santa. His army comp is better than Magicall's in that if they had an even number of supply for both players, it would be even, but Magicall does have a lot more units than Santa. He does jump on a Hollower and get it right away. He is looking to take down this tower before it is even finished. Empire Unbroken is being casted by Santa, and that's going to make those Zephyrs take them a lot more to get that tower down, but so the Zephyrs do get pushed away. Well done by Santa for defending that base, but losing this third is pretty painful. Magicall has got his own on the way now, and Magicall already had an economic advantage, as you remember from the beginning of the game. That natural was canceled, or the natural of Santa was canceled, and that was pretty unfortunate for him. And losing that much economy in the early game is more impactful than in the later game, as a result of the fact that your units are just not out as fast. Your production doesn't get up as quickly in the earlier game as it does in the later game. The same concept can be applied when, you know, it's you're 5 bases in and you lose a base. Is not as painful as being 2 bases in and losing a base, if you catch my drift. Now, as I was saying before, in a one-on-one fight, Santa's army definitely wins. The Zephyrs will count on retreating, kiting, using their ability to preserve their health pool. And Santa is kind of taking advantage of that. He is going where he wants, where he pleases. And at this point, he hasn't taken his third base yet, and we see a double expand from Magicall, which I didn't mention before. Sorry, I keep zooming in. It's not purposeful, I swear. There's also Sharu Tech out here from Santa, so I feel that Santa really needs to make something happen on the other side of the map. He needs to either cancel both these bases and take his own, or simply just end the game. Because Magicall is definitely ahead. Now, something unfortunate here is Santa doesn't have any anti-air, and there's a couple Wardens out now for a Magicall. So Santa is gonna have to run home, get some sort of anti-air out. We do see a Castigator coming out here as something, so that is something. He may lose a Hollower here to the Wardens if he's not in time. Castigator shows up, and this is a little bit of a push from Magicall. There's a very diverse unit comp from both players here. We see Saoshin, Zephyrs, and Zentari and Wardens. Sorry, Sipari and Wardens from Magicall. Magicall uses all that PYRE for his special ability as a Jari and gets bonus shields for a short time. All the Hollowers are going down, and Fuse coming down from Magicall as well. He's got so much PYRE to play with. The Wardens are going down to the towers, and there's still a lot of Zentari left in that hollowed ground, and PYRE Unbroken on the tower as well. Makes it so Magicall is forced away from this position, but that does mean he is forced to the halfway finished third base of Santa, and well, I don't believe that this third base is going to be long for this world. Meanwhile, Santa is going to try and defend it, but these Zentari, when they're not on hollowed ground, are really exposed to the rest of the units of Magicall, which are ranged. That third base does go down, and there's an increasing number of Wardens coming out here. Magicall's going to have to do something about that. He's going to need either more Castigators or need to go into Zephyr Tech, but it looks like Castigators are the unit of choice. As Santa, this is a really rough position because Magicall came across the map and smacked him. He lost a lot of his army, and that's hard to recover as Santa as a result of the fact that he's still on 2 bases. He hasn't been able to get his expansions up like Magicall, and Magicall, his unit losses are a lot less painful. We see the Wardens moving around, so this looks like it's going to be an attempted 2-pronged attack from Magicall. He's going to try and split up his forces. We see 4 Castigators out here now, but the 4 Castigators by themselves will be enough to move away the Wardens, but there's also a main army out on the map. Speaking of out on the map, the Castigators are way out of position in order to be able to defend this attack, and there are a couple Fire Singers here which are going to distract the Wardens for a little while and maybe even push them away, but the moats do have to be evacuated, and the Wardens are getting pushed away by a couple of the Castigators. It seems that Santa really doesn't like the Wardens. He has about 7 or 8 Castigators now, and that is nice when you want to chase the Wardens. He does take down 2 there, which is very nice. At this point, he does need some Hollowers. Excuse me, Hallow. I noticed on the Break the Game Weekly, I was saying the unit wrong. It's Hallower, not Hollower. Very close pronunciation, but I still got it wrong. That's me for you. I think Santa could use a few more Zentari here, but his units are all very high tech, and that is definitely going to be a factor in this fight. I can't say the same for Magicall. He's been on the low unit tech. Other than the Wardens, he's been using mostly ground units and infantry in order to be able to keep winning this game. And that is nice because he is now on 5 bases, or about to be on 5 bases, but Santa's got a scary army, and Magicall may have been too greedy here. I think that's definitely a possibility. We see this push here from Magicall, or sorry, Santa. He does throw down a pillar, perfect amount of PYRE for it. Push again, Infuse coming down from Magicall. Sure shots missing. The Castigators are ripping up the Wardens. We see a couple Sipari coming in from the back. The Hollowers do get sniped. Now it's just the Castigators and Tari. Sharu shots are still coming out. These Sharu are still alive. We see a Scepter coming in from across the map. Reinforcements in the form of Saoshin and Sipari are coming in, but there is just so much from Santa. He has such a large force, and the Sharu shots were really good, and the Wardens got taken down really easily by all of the Castigators. So now Magicall is in a really tough position. His army has just been taken out, and there is an impending doom army here on his doorstep that he really needs to stop. He's trying to keep his forces alive and move them away to keep stalling for as much as possible. Magicall did have such an economic lead that it's not going to take long for him to recoup these forces, and Santa is trying to take advantage as best he can, but he really needs to move in and kill the production of Magicall. We see an Infuse coming down these forces, but a beautiful choke point and Sharu shot from Santa. My goodness. The Zentari don't have hollowed ground though, so it is rough for them. They are getting taken out eventually between the Saoshin and the Zentari, which are being healed by the Saoshin. The Castigators are not very good when it comes to attacking on ground. We see an Infuse coming down here from Santa using that last little bit of extra pyre, and wow, Magicall GG's out. What a game. Well done by Santa. Honestly, wow, that was a really close one. Well done by Santa, just taking it right in the end there. It was looking like a Magicall victory all the way up until the end there. Very well done by both those players.